you already the vice president of the United States of America? Who is saying that you can't do those things now that you're promising? You are the one saying, oh, we're not going to do this great thing. Oh, we're not going to do that great thing because I'm only going to do it if you elect me. You're holding it hostage. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think they understand how the politics work. You got to watch this.
President of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration's immigration policies have been an absolute disaster. But instead of coming up with a new plan to fix the border or taking any responsibility for past failures, the Democrats have once again resorted to gaslighting with the following Kamala campaign ad.
On the border, the choice is simple. Kamala Harris supports increasing the number of Border Patrol agents. Donald Trump blocked a bill to increase the number of Border Patrol agents.
Well,
Okay. He's going to do a great job of breaking this down, but this is the biggest blatant lie all of us have heard. And just to see the fact that they're like, Kamala wants more border agents because Donald Trump blocked them. What? And on this topic, I heard her parts of one of her campaign speeches the other day, and she's like, if I get elected, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, and it's going to be amazing. And I think to myself, aren't you already the vice president of the United States of America? Who is saying that you can't do those things now that you're promising? You are the one saying, oh, we're not going to do this great thing. Oh, we're not going to do that great thing because I'm only going to do it if you elect me, right? You're holding it hostage. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't think they understand how the politics work. You're in charge right now. Just do the GD thing that you're telling me you're going to do later. And I am flabbergasted. By the way, Brian, I am glad you're here. Brian says the Republicans will hold her back. Well, they better hold her back. Brian, I got to personally apologize and say, I'm sorry that we didn't cover the weekly live stream on Friday. I completely blew it, but congratulations to Brian for winning that. Brian says, didn't Trump promise a wall when he was in office? They built some of that wall. Let's continue on here. This is actually great.
Considering that Donald Trump hasn't held office for the last 3.5 years, I'd love to know exactly how he blocked legislation that was introduced in 2024.
That's a great point. Dude literally hasn't had a job in government since January 7th or whatever, 2021. How in the world is this his fault for blocking it?
Not to mention that several non-Republican senators voted against the so-called bipartisan border bill. I didn't know Trump had that kind of influence. And before you ask, no, that ad isn't a parody, but it is a joke because they think the voters are so stupid that they're not only going to forget that the Biden-Harris administration were the ones that opened the floodgates, but on top of that, they claim that actually it was Trump and the MAGA Republicans' fault. But sure, if Kamala Harris wants to play this game, then let's f***ing go.
Let's freaking go. Brad says, oh, he did tell Republicans to not vote for that bill that they did agree to. I don't know the details on that.
In May 2023, the House introduced H.R. 2, also known as the Secure the Border Act of 2023. The bill specifically calls for hiring and maintaining an active duty presence of not fewer than 22,000 full-time equivalent Border Patrol agents who may not perform the duties of processing coordinators. In other words, these 22,000 Border Patrol agents would not be forced to perform administrative tasks related to the intake and processing of illegal aliens seeking asylum. Instead, they would be able to focus on their jobs, actually patrolling the border. But for some...
Which sounds like a great idea, right? I mentioned this the other day. I personally know an ICE agent, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agent. He's one of the scout dads that I work with. And yeah, he and his whole department have been saying how they are literally hamstrung and they cannot do their job. Now, granted, not Border Patrol, but same realm here.
For some reason, not a single House Democrat voted to hire Border Patrol agents.
Brian, is this what you expected? Right? I didn't. I had no idea about this, and maybe this is something different. But yeah, okay. So Donald Trump definitely blocked additional Border Patrol agents, without a doubt whatsoever. Donald Trump did, right? I mean, clearly he did.
Which is weird because I thought that Kamala Harris and the Democrats wanted additional border agents. Let's continue.
Kamala Harris
You see why I like his videos? These are great.
supports investing in new technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Donald Trump blocked funding for technology to block fentanyl from entering the country. Kamala Harris supports spending more money to stop human traffickers. Donald Trump blocked money to stop human traffickers.
But H.R. 2 had already addressed all these issues nearly a year before the so-called bipartisan border bill was even introduced. H.R. 2 would have utilized any appropriate technology, including excess tech from the Department of Defense, to detect, interdict, and disrupt human smuggling, human trafficking, drug trafficking, and other illicit cross-border activity. And again, every single Democrat in the House voted against it. And by Kamala Harris's standard, that means that the Democrats support human trafficking and drug trafficking. Sad, really. And despite Kamala's claim,
Randy says, Randy, by the way, thanks for watching live. We can add 80,000 IRS agents under the Inflation Reduction Act, but we can't add border agents. No, of course not, right? Randy, let's think the economics of this, right? The 80,000 IRS agents are there to go and basically improve how much money the government is pulling in, right? They're trying to increase the value coming into the government. If they hire more border patrol agents, then they have to stop letting people in. And those people are going to become law-abiding, incredible citizens of the United States of America who will absolutely pay their taxes. And therefore, that's who we need the IRS agents for. Why didn't we think of this sooner, Randy? We need HR 2.1.
claim that she supports funding for border security, just a couple of years ago when she was senator, she signed onto a letter demanding the opposite. We ask you to reject President Trump's funding request for a costly and ineffective border wall, new border patrol agents, and a large increase in U.S. immigrations and customs enforcement personnel and detention beds.
How can they run political ads? I told you this would be a good one. How can they run political ads? And this is actually their stance. They lie to your face and stab you in the back. God gravy. Randy says, how's it going? David, hey, sorry I'm late. Right on the SPY futures up and down a few minutes ago. Couldn't pass it. Dude, by all means, make as much money as you possibly can. Go for it, dude.
We urge the committee to reject President Trump's proposal for funding to hire new Border Patrol personnel at this time.
Okay. So literal Kamala Harris's signature. We urge the committee to reject President Trump's proposal for funding new Border Patrol agents. If we rewind this back, she literally said Donald Trump blocked this and that they want more. How can they? It honest to goodness boggles my mind how we let this happen in America. Brian says, it'd be better if he included the timeline and dates to his video. All politicians slide to your face and stab you in the back. You're right. It would be better.
Interesting.
There's two choices in this election. The one who will fix our broken immigration system and the one who's...
Yeah, right. Give me a break. The one who will fix the broken immigration system that she created.
Trying to stop her.
So ironically, Joe Biden's border czar is claiming that she's going to fix the border, even though it was the Biden-Harris administration that broke it in the first place.
She's going to fix the problem that she broke. Yeah, let's see about that. David says, Eli Crane, Republican from Arizona, former Navy SEAL, actually voted against that as well. Ooh.
Why not visit the border? Why not see what Americans are seeing in this crisis?
Well, we are going to the border. We have to deal with what's happening at the border. There's no question about that. That's not a debatable point.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border.
At some point, we're going to go to the border. Yeah, because she was the border czar. She was. She absolutely 100% was. Politicians know the public doesn't read and the politicians just lie until it becomes a fact. Do you guys remember the book 1984? Goodness, this is 1984 being played out in real life.
We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't.
You haven't been to the border. And she's like, oh shit, he caught me.
I don't understand the point that you're making.
Wow. Can't wait for 8 years of that.
And there are many critics, some within your own party, who say that there's more that your administration should be doing on the migration front. Do they have a point?
If you want to deal with the problem, then do it if you are a leader by participating in the solution.
Harris was made the border czar, which means that she was the point person on the issue of immigration. She was literally the one that was supposed to lead the effort. In fact, Joe Biden basically gave her the authority to do whatever she wanted to do.
It's not her full responsibility and job, but she's leading the effort. When she speaks for me, doesn't have to check with me. She knows what she's doing, and I hope we can move this along.
But instead of doing her job, Kamala Harris spent an inordinate amount of time making excuses.
Do you plan to visit the border?
Not today.
No, I'm not going to the border today. No, Mexico's too hot. Why would I go down there? Randy says she's busted. Brent says when she went to the border of Maryland and DC. Yep, that's the only border she's going to.
Said I'm going to go to the border. And
When are you going to the border, Vice President?
administration has asked. I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
I want to ask you about the border. Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the president and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made: pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship.
The question was, is the border secure? And instead of answering no, Kamala pivoted to, we have to turn illegal immigrants into American citizens.
Because that way we can use those 80,000 IRS agents to get their fair share. Exactly.
We also have to put in place a law and a plan for a pathway for citizenship for the millions of people who are here and are prepared to do what is legally required to gain citizenship.
So even though illegal immigration is one of the biggest concerns among voters, Kamala's plan is to reward illegal aliens who've been living and working in the United States illegally for years, and then reward them with citizenship for no reason. Good luck in November, honey.
The border, by many people's account, is not secure. By Border Patrol agents who are there telling the media they just don't believe it is. Do you believe the border is secure now?
I will tell you something. One of our highest priorities is to ensure that we have a secure border, and that is what we are doing.
Fact check false.
Fact check false. Brian says her job was to find the root cause analysis, not the result, which is the border, right? Or he may play this in a minute, but remember when she was like, "Do not come, do not come." Clearly, that sort of language was an invitation. Please do come. Only 6 million border encounters in the time that Joe Biden's been in office.
In the first 3.5 years of the Biden-Harris administration, there have been a reported 6.3 million encounters at the southern border.
We're going to have 2 million people cross this border for the first time ever. You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration. But there are still a lot of problems that we are trying to fix, given the deterioration that happened over the last 4 years. The border is secure.
But it's never been secure under border czar Kamala Harris. Just in the first 6 months of this year, there have been over 1 million encounters at the southwest border. And those numbers are significantly higher than any entire year-long period under President.
I'll tell you, I don't know how they come up with these numbers, but it's probably somebody very based keeping up with these numbers here, right? Because if they were as woke as she is, they'd never allow them to keep up with these numbers. They just fake them, right? And for the fact that, 1, 2, 3 months, any 3-month period on this is greater than any full year period anytime in the last 4 calendar years before that.
Then Trump.
There's 2 choices in this election: the one who will fix our broken immigration system and the one who's trying to stop her.
Now, just to be clear, when Democrats claim that they will fix our broken immigration system, it means that they want to open the gates to as many illegal border crossers, asylum seekers, and economic migrants as humanly possible.
I guess that's how they fix it. Just let everybody in, right, Randy? Do not come. Works about as well as no gun zone in Chicago.
Let me just be very clear. We have to have a secure border, but I am in favor of saying that we're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross borders criminals. You got to play by the rules, but we can't treat people like criminals.
So no, Kamala has never...
Why? Why not? For what reason do we not want to treat people like criminals? Please, explain to me why. They're doing a criminal act of crossing the border illegally. Illegally, that word right there means it is a criminal act. Why would we not treat them as criminals? Please enlighten me, because I have yet to see the reason why we would not treat them as criminals. Well, I guess because every blue city, blue state, blue Democrat, governor of whatever decided, hey, we're not going to treat anybody as criminals these days.
Ever been tough on the border. And if you think that she's going to change course now, well, here's who she just chose to be her running mate.
It's done. A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Now, does that sound like a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz administration will turn illegal immigrants away from the border or allow them to come in without suffering any repercussions?
There's two choices in this election.
Anyway, that's it for now. Please follow.
Yeah, I think these videos that he puts out are pretty awesome because he does a very good job of really breaking down all the details of what's going on out there. And I really appreciate that he does, because there's so much lying that goes on. And the fact that we can see it, right? The people are not forgetting. We all were there over the last few years. We've seen how bad things have gotten since COVID. But they want to lie to us and say it's Donald Trump's fault. Give me a break. You know what's not Donald Trump's fault? It's Carvana. Have you seen Carvana? I love these absolutely impossible transitions over to stocks, right? So I have a Carvana story. My car, so I had a Mini Cooper. I had it for ages and ages. I love that car. It was one of there were 3 cars I wanted my entire life, and one of them was a Mini Cooper, and I was so excited to get it. And I drove the mess out of that car. I put 100,000 miles on that car. And one day I walked out in the garage, and all the fluids that were in the car were now out of the car and all over the garage floor. And I was like, oof, okay, I feel like it's time for a new car. Well, I took it to a Mini Cooper repair store. And they said the car would take $4,400 to put back together. And the car was maybe worth, well, in a minute, when I took it to Carvana, after I got it repaired, they only gave me like $3,200. So basically it was a total loss. And I said, just slap it together enough where I can drive it down the road. So $500 later, took it over to Carvana and sold it to them. I had a great experience there selling to them. And if you had been owning the stock over the last few months, you probably had a great experience as well, because this buy signal we got on June 11th, followed by the sell signal that came on July 10th. I looked at the charts on here. That was from June 11th to July 10th. That was a 26% gain on Carvana in the span of 19 trading days, exactly when this buy and sell signal came. So pretty outstanding signal that came through right there on Carvana. Not only that, we did get a buy signal today. So listen, the market's falling apart, but if you are just like burning a hole in your pocket, you got to buy something, check out Carvana. It was pretty good so far. And the performance summary has been outstanding as well. 61% following the outlier buy and sell signals versus buy and hold down 14.5%. So I would definitely recommend, if you have to buy something right now, check out the outlier data. Let's see. David says, here in Arizona, the massive illegal immigration is stressing out all of our social services. It is impossible to get into health clinics. Emergency services are pushed to the limits. No room for more. They have an amazing corporate office in Tempe. Oh, Carvana does. Very cool. So anyway, yeah, definitely check out Carvana, and let's jump into our market analysis. So I am sure you all have figured out by now that while I'm not trading, I'm trying to come up with interesting topics to talk about. And politics is definitely the topics of the day. And, I appreciate sharing this with all you guys. Welcome to the Outlier Trading Room. This is smart trading made simple. Save time, make money, start winning with less risk. Now, that's what I like to call profit hacking. Now, if you don't have a copy of the Profit Hacking Playbook, do head on over to profithackingplaybook.com, or you can get a copy inside the VIP Investors Toolkit area in our Discord. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Christopher Uhl. I've twice been awarded Top 100 People in Finance. I've been successfully trading since 2009. I'm a partner with Outlier, and this is my style of trading using the Outlier data that we have every single day. So I call this the golden ticket trading strategy. It's the 8 steps to turn profit hacking into pure gold. And do me a favor real quick while you're watching this, double check that you're subscribed. We go live every single day, and I'd hate for you to miss out by not being subscribed. Now, the master key to this is this triangle right here. The SPY signal, buy or sell, the market breadth, how many stocks are showing up on the bull list, and then the sector breadth. This is, once we've already picked out a stock, is that sector gaining in breadth, or is it waning in breadth? Those are the two words. And this combo is giving me an 80% win rate following this over the last couple of years. So definitely not deviating from that now that we figured that out. So let's start with the SPY. So the S&P 500 still shows a buy signal. I'm so surprised. I'm as surprised as you are, right? The SPY still shows a buy signal today. And if you go to yesterday's live stream, I said, look out for a face ripping rally. And here's what I think is about to happen. We're up about 2% right now. I can imagine seeing it get up to about 541. So that gets it to the 50 period moving average, about another 2.6% or so. I don't know exactly how long it'll take to get there, but I think that's the next course of action. Once we get there, I feel like that's probably where the sell signal will come through on outlier. And then I would also imagine at that point, that's when the market's really going to drop, right? It may have felt hard and fast right here, dropping nearly 10% in the span of 14 days. But I think it's going to pale. I think it will pale in comparison, because once we take out these order blocks here, bro, once we take out these order blocks, I think we could see south down to 458. I think we could see movements down 20% potentially. So don't be in a rush, right? Don't be in a rush, because the market right now is doing exactly like I thought it would, which is bouncing in this area. I think it's going to try and get up to the 50 period moving average. Keep in mind, these order blocks are big institutional orders. We got 3 of them stacked on top of each other right here. So it's going to take a lot of work to damage those and break them down. Once they do, I think a lot of people are going to give up, get scared, and get out of the market. And that's going to lead the market even lower. Now, so like I say, the first leg of the master key is the buyer sell signal, and it's still in a buy point. So I'm not going to be going short. But on the market breadth, check this out. Look how fast the market breadth has deteriorated. So this is the percent of stocks on the bull list. This is the percent of stocks that we have showing a buy signal. As you can see, it peaked around July 19th, which is when we got out, and has been falling in free fall. In fact, it's very possible it may go south of 25%, which is my other extreme, which would be absolutely crazy to see it go from was nearly 80% to sub 25% in the span of just a few days. So the market breadth is incredibly bearish. The market trend is down, but once I get that sell signal on the SPY, that's when I'm going to start going short. But in the meantime, just going to be hanging out in cash. Like one of my mentors, his number one rule, he says here, is wait in cash for proper setups. How long? As long as it takes. And listen, I've come to the conclusion that trading less often is the way to go, and really waiting for those opportunities to come through. And that's why, you know what, we can talk about all kinds of cool stuff out there, right? Every single day. We've got a new buy signal at Carvana. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on with the market and with politics. So there's no shortage of things to talk about. Thanks so much for coming to today's Outlier Trading Room. Don't forget, I'll be here tomorrow. Hope to see you there. Talk soon.